God is in the gut, collecting data. Our connection to our higher self, or our internal compass, is felt through the gut. When we shift from living in our head to living from our heart or our gut, we can feel and filter everything through the heart/gut center, and trust me, it's a much better way to live. If something or someone brings you discomfort and you get that intuitive warning pang in your gut, it is something to look at and pay more attention to, not ignore. These are red flags, or our higher self communicating with us. If we ignore these signals, we are in essence betraying ourselves. I got those pangs in my gut with soulmate number 4, as well as all of my other soulmates, but ignored them because I was headstrong that he was the one. After watching me suffer for months, one of my angel friends suggested it's time I write the negative and positive list, something I had been avoiding. I was still sporting the rose-colored glasses. She gently coaxed me to see the big picture and take him off the pedestal. Even though I didn't think I had him there, I did. There's nothing wrong with believing in love. We just have to believe it with someone who believes it back. There are many ways in which we betray ourselves and not listen to our gut. It doesn't have to be a grandiose event either. Usually they are what seem to be insignificant things, but in reality are not. Every time we don't want to do something and we do it anyway, we are betraying ourselves. And I'm not talking about exercising or doing things that are positive for your well-being that you're just being lazy about. I'm talking about saying yes when you really want to say no. That's negativity in disguise. You give your power away and part of yourself. It's not healthy for us or our relationship partner when we are not true to ourselves and give in to their requests, demands, or manipulative behavior. We only resent them in the end. I've done that too many times in my life to count. One of the most significant times was after the breakup with soulmate number 2. Integrity. A few months after soulmate number 2 walked out on us, he came back to me to reconcile. I had already done the work, processed my feelings, shifted to a place of forgiveness, and had moved on. But because I was still attached to the idea of love and didn't want to be alone, I decided to try again, even though my heart and my gut were saying no. Our get-togethers turned into booty calls, which went on for about a year or so. I knew deep down this is not what I wanted, but was attached and stuck in the pattern. Then one day, during my studies of the science of getting rich with Bob Proctor, enlightenment comes from all sources. Bob said something that made me stop and think. Honesty with another person is fairly easy, while honesty with yourself is much more difficult. I always thought of myself as an honest person. For example, if I found a wallet with money, I would return the wallet complete with the money, even if I was in need, or gave the cashier money back if they made a mistake. I prided myself on being impeccable with my word as well. Say what you mean and mean what you say. But being honest with ourselves is a lot harder to notice. It means that our thoughts, feelings, and actions are all in alignment, which is a definition of integrity. I had an aha moment after I heard that. I was thinking and feeling one thing about my ex-fiancé and then doing something else. I was not being honest with myself. I was not in integrity. The booty call stopped after that. I realized I was giving away my power because my heart wasn't in it. That lesson has stuck with me to this day. Integrity is what you do when no one is looking. It is being honest with yourself, and that translates into self-love. Loving yourself means saying no thank you at times. However, just because we say no doesn't mean we close our hearts. We are simply honoring our healthy boundaries by loving ourselves. We can say no and stay open. One valuable lesson soulmate number 3 taught me was that it was not necessary to answer everyone right then and there when they ask you a question. Seems like common sense, but when you are a people pleaser, it could get tricky. His response was, "I'll bring it to prayer." I love that comeback because instead of overcommitting and saying yes when you want to say no, it puts the power back in your court and gives you time to make a decision based on self-love. It doesn't have to be a spiritual reply. You can say, "Let me think about it and I'll get back to you." My housemate. Love is blind is a true statement, but it's not really love. It's temporary hormones that are taking over our brain. It's not a bad thing to take it slow and learn about a person first before we get intimate and physical. Once we cross that line, something shifts and we are not as objective as we would have been if we remained just friends for a while. I believe it's different for women, although energetically, when we have sex with someone, we are still connected to them, even if the sex ends. I've learned that if I'm goo gaga over a man, if I take the time to get to know him before jumping in the sack, more than likely I will feel differently about him, and the intense emotions that go along with sex will be more manageable. After my former husband, soulmate number 3, moved out, the universe, probably feeling sorry for me, listening to my wailing sobs, bestowed me with the gift. A few months had passed. I was in the basement doing laundry when the door to the downstairs apartment opened, and out came this perfect specimen of a man, my new housemate. Trying to act like he didn't just rattle my world, I introduced myself while thanking God silently. He was a former Navy SEAL with the face of a GQ model, beautiful blue eyes, and a killer smile. Every friend that came over who I introduced to him would respond the same way. That is what lives downstairs? Are you kidding? For the first time in my life, I didn't let my hormones take over and did the get to know him first. Not that there would have been anything wrong if I didn't, but I was being true to myself finally. While he was and is a great guy, and we had many things in common, at the core, not so much. We were at different times in our lives with a different vision for our future. Although his dog, Joey, fell in love with Karma, we remained friends and still are to this day. During that vulnerable time my heart was in recovery, he was a godsend to me. We developed a beautiful friendship and spent a lot of time together. Not only was he there for me, he helped my heart to heal. He was another angel in my life, and I will always cherish the time we spent together. Living your truth, being the light. I used to think my daughter's anger was caused by my dishonesty or hiding the truth about her father. Since she was still angry after I told her the truth, I got the feeling she was angry because she watched me betray myself and give my power away in so many ways over and over again. I don't think our daughters necessarily know why they are angry at us. It's more subconscious. Our daughters are angry and mad because we are letting them down by not living our truth. When we become empowered women, goddesses, and co-creators of our heaven on earth, then they will shift. They will feel it. They will know we are back in our light and in our glory and power. Until then, they will remain with a chip on their shoulder. Our kids are wise beings of light and truth. They know, they know, they know. Thinking with the heart. Don't think, feel. It is like a finger pointing away to the moon. Don't concentrate on the finger, or you will miss all that heavenly glory. Bruce Lee. Most of the time, the pain we are experiencing is not coming from the heart. I submit that our heart's perfect, whole, and complete as is. It is our mind that screws us up. We have to stop listening to our thoughts in our mind that take us away from the knowing in our heart. We are so used to living in our heads that we aren't aware we even have a heart. And I don't mean the heart organ that pumps blood through our bodies and keeps us alive. The heart center that is the gateway and key to unlocking our full potential as spiritual human beings. In your heart is where wisdom lies and where truth dwells. Do not confuse what is in your mind with what is in your heart. What is in your mind has been put there by others. What is in your heart is what you carry with me. It's where God resides in most intimate communion with you. Neil Donald Walsh. Home with God and in a life that never ends. In order to reconnect with the divinity of our hearts, where we will find guidance in all we need to be fulfilled and happy, we need to silence the mind. Our minds have become the enemy because they've become so fierce. Fear thoughts are the pre-programming and the signal, however. It is you battling you. They are becoming fierce now because they are telling you they are no longer serving you. It is divine. You signal It is divine you signaling to human you to wake up. They are signals of your divine heart because there must be compatibility of the mind with the spirit. Don't be afraid of them. Welcome them and say thank you. Thank you for showing me that it's time for me to wake up and let go of these limiting thoughts that no longer serve my soul. I am bigger than these thoughts. In fact, I am not these thoughts. Then release them and ask that they be transmuted back to the light. And the dark nights of the soul are actually you, divine you, waking up you, human you. The dark nights of the soul serve a purpose, a grave and grand and inviting purpose. It is your higher self calling out to your human self, trying to get its attention. Hey buddy, wake up. There's more to you that meets the eye, and if you realize all that you have and all that you are, you would not be able to contain your joy. When we live from our soul, we don't fall prey to other people's opinions and belief. When we live from our soul, we become the most powerful presence upon earth.